Welcome to PROFITIZE training video. In this video, you will learn how to manually enter direct credit sale of finished goods with advance payment transaction in PROFITIZE. Click on the Transactions tab. Click on the Add Transaction button. Click on the Sell button. Click on the Direct button. Click on the Finished Goods button if you sold finished goods. Otherwise, click on Other Assets, or Services, as appropriate. Click on the Delivered button if you already delivered the finished goods to your customer. Otherwise, click on the Deliver Later button. Click on the Partially Paid button if the customer paid you partially in advance. Otherwise, click on the Fully Paid button, or Not Paid button, as appropriate. Click on the Not Paid button if your customer did not pay you when you delivered the finished goods to the customer. Otherwise, click on Fully Paid button, or Partially Paid button, as appropriate. Click on the Trade Credit button if you allow your customer to pay later for your finished goods or services, typically within 30 to 90 days. Otherwise, click on the Installment Sale button if you allow your customer to pay later for your finished goods or services, in more than one payment over a period longer than 30 to 90 days. Now that you have successfully answered all category questions regarding the direct credit sale of finished goods with advance payment transaction, you will need to start entering other details of your transaction in the input fields. Note that input fields with asterisks are required fields, where you must enter data. Required input fields are followed by optional input fields, where you should enter as much data as possible. Click on the calendar icon to select the date goods delivered required input field. In the calendar date picker, click on, for example, July 12, 2024, to set the date you delivered the finished goods to your customer. Click on Outside the Calendar to get out of the calendar date picker. Click on the VAT amount required input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the VAT amount. Here, for example, select 150. Click on the Next button to move to the next screen. Click on the Estimated COGS % required input field. COGS stands for Cost of Goods Sold. It includes only the costs directly related to producing or acquiring the goods sold. Indirect expenses like marketing, administrative costs, and general overhead are not included in COGS. For retailers, your estimated COGS should include the estimated cost of inventory purchased for resale, freight and shipping costs to receive goods, direct labor costs for handling inventory, and packaging materials. For manufacturers, your estimated COGS should include the estimated cost of raw materials, direct labor costs, manufacturing overhead costs, including indirect materials like supplies used in production, indirect labor like supervisors and quality control staff, factory utilities, depreciation of manufacturing equipment, rent for manufacturing facilities, freight and shipping costs for raw materials, and costs related to the storage of raw materials and finished goods. Estimated COGS % is calculated by dividing the estimated COGS per unit of finished goods by the actual price per unit of finished goods and expressing it as a percentage. For example, if your estimated COGS is $60 and the actual price is $100 for a particular type of finished goods, then your estimated COGS % is 60, i.e., 60 divided by 100. You will need to adjust the estimated COGS with the actual COGS at the end of each accounting period based on the actual physical count of your inventory. For more information, visit the PROFITIZE YouTube channel and watch the complete video on COGS. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, your estimated COGS. Here, for example, select 60, and click on Next button to move to the next screen. Click on the amount you received before delivery optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the amount you received before delivery, or advance payment from the customer. Here, for example, select 100. Click on the amount including VAT required input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list. Here, for example, select 1150 in the amount including VAT field. Click on the Next button to move to the next screen. Click on the Customer Business Name required input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the customer business name. Here, for example, select Customer Business Limited H. Click on the calendar icon to select the accounts receivable due date required input field. Click on the right arrow to navigate to the next month in the date picker if the accounts receivable due date is, for example, on August 12, 2024. In the calendar date picker, click on, for example, August 12, 2024, to select the accounts receivable due date. Then, click on outside the calendar to get out of the calendar date picker. Click on the next button to move to the next screen. Click on the customer contact name optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the customer contact name. Here, for example, select John. Click on the finished good type optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the finished good type. Here, for example, select laptop. Click on the next button to proceed to the next step after entering the finished good type. Click on the finished good quantity optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the finished good quantity. Here, for example, select 1 if you sold 1 laptop. Click on the unit of measure optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the unit of measure. Here, for example, select number. Click on the next button to move to the next screen. Click on the finished good brand optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the finished good brand. Here, for example, select Apple. Click on the finished good manufacturer optional input field to enter or select the manufacturer. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the finished good manufacturer. Here, for example, select Apple. Click on the next button to move to the next screen. Click on the finished good model optional input field. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the finished good model. Here, for example, select Model Z. Click on the finished good SKU optional input field to enter or select the SKU. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, the finished good SKU. Here, for example, select this SKU. Click on the next button to move to the next screen. Click on the Notes optional input field to enter any additional information or comments. Enter, or select from the searchable drop-down list, your notes. Here, for example, select My Notes. Click on the Upload Docs optional button to upload supporting documents. Click the Next button to continue to the next section. Click on the Finish button to complete the transaction entry process. Click on the Transactions tab to view your transaction summaries in the Transactions List View screen. This is the Transactions List View screen. Your most recent transaction summary will appear on the top of the Transactions List View screen. Click on the Customer Business Limited H transaction to view the details of this transaction in the Transactions Page View screen. This is the Transaction Page View screen. Use the right scroll bar to move up and down the Transaction Page View screen to inspect under Details and Management Data. Click on the Repeat button only if you want to quickly enter a new transaction that has identical journal entries, meaning debits and credits, to this transaction. The Repeat button will let you bypass the category questions and bring you straight to the required and optional input fields. You should only use the Repeat button when you become proficient in using PROFITIZE. If you are new to PROFITIZE, use the Add Transactions button to enter new transactions. In this video, you learned how to manually enter direct credit sale of finished goods with advance payment in PROFITIZE. For more training videos, visit PROFITIZE YouTube channel.